Welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
And I am Scott Anderson.
And I'm Dan Charlton.
We're joined with Dan Charlton, John Franklin, Wookie, my main man, and Nate Swanner, all from Android Authority, guys. Great to have you here.
It's good to be here.
We have a little treat this week. Nate is actually joining us from his Chromebook Pixel, and I don't know if we look as amazing as he does, but the video camera on it seems great from here. I'm definitely impressed.
Yeah, it's a nice camera, that's for sure.
So how do we look on that massive screen? Do we look all pixelated and like horrible, or what?
Well, you look horrible, but it's not because of the pixelation. No, the screen's absolutely gorgeous. I'm blown away by it.
All right, I see what you did there.
It took you a minute to catch on.
An ugly joke. All right, I remember that. Remember, I can mute you. You know. All right. All right.
You can always listen to us on the podcast.
Yeah. All right. So this week, Mobile World Congress. Over in Barcelona, Android Authority was there. Our Joshua Vergara and Darcy Lacavay were there, tearing it up. We have tons of YouTube videos on our channel. You should check those out if you want to see a bunch of verses. There's a bunch of hands-on various different devices, as well as device reviews and everything on the website. Our whole Mobile World Congress is pretty in-depth. You know what? I really like that intro, the Mobile World Congress intro.
That's a great intro.
Yeah, it's great. It's a bull. It's a Mobile World Congress Global Mobile Awards bull, like rushing the Android Authority logo, and it's awesome. You gotta check it out. All right,
I'm gonna say real quick, just for like a second, Derek, aren't you just a little bit jealous after CES? Aren't you just a little bit jealous that we're not there?
You know. No, I'm not. I had fun at CES. It sounds like, Mobile World Congress had a lot more goodies.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice to see some of the goodies. But you know what?
And big Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, I'm
You're jealous.
I'm trying to play it down. I'm jealous. Don't get me wrong. All right, so we're going to talk about Mobile World Congress, obviously, various phones and tablets and phone pads, and with the Global Mobile Awards. And before we get to all that, let's talk about a hot topic this week. While Mobile World Congress was going on, we're going to hit on some information that came out about Google versus Samsung. But before we get to that, let's hit our normal app segment at the beginning of the show. So you may have noticed a new icon show up on your Android device this week. A nice little green Google icon with a gear.
Reminds me of like St. Patrick's Day. Anybody?
Yeah, well, St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
So it's the Google Settings app. This is from the new Google Play Services 3.0 that rolled out. And Google Play Services 3.0, we've had it since 1.0. We've had it for a while. It adds various APIs for Android and so forth, so you don't have to wait for a new version of Android to roll out so you can get them. So this latest one was a big update for integration for Google+. You can now, if you're a brand, you can install apps directly from your site. You have a link to sign in for Google+. The app automatically downloads, installs to your device. You can, similar to like a Facebook sign-in and a Twitter sign-in, you can now sign in with Google+ as well, and it can, steal all your data from, all your friends' names. It doesn't know your friends' circles. They specifically tell you that, but it will know all your friends' names from that circle. Or you can choose to not share anybody. It will know 0 of your friends' names, which is very nice. The few apps I've done, I was like, I'm not giving them my friends' data. Go down there and click only allow this, only take my information, don't take my friends. Or you can create a circle with like, one person in it or no people in it and share it to that circle. Little tidbit. That's cool. I like the integration. You know me, I'm a big Google Plus fan. I
what
like
other
that.
things integrate with it?
Well, apps. So you can now sign into, let's say, for example, Fancy is an app that allows you to sign in with Twitter, Facebook, and now you can sign in directly with your Google Plus credentials. So it's another, more secure experience. The apps can be now personalized. When you sign in, it can say, "Hey, Derek, how you doing?" And, it's nice. I like it.
So how is it different from the web apps that let you sign in with your Google account already?
Well, the Google account right now will be able to look at your contacts, would be able to look at your email address and see your name and so forth. But this will have access to your history, your history API, and will allow your apps to do things as on Google Plus. If you share, you can view directly into the app, such as a purchase link, view a product that somebody's sharing. If somebody shares maybe a game score, you click on the view, it takes you right to the game score, something like that. It's a writable Google Plus API, which the regular Google account auth doesn't allow writing to Google Plus, and this one does. So it's a writable API, I guess, is the long story short.
So I guess my real question is, what's the purpose of having both?
I'm going to assume that eventually it would be phased out. You won't need both. That's just me making an assumption, but why would you have both? There's no need to have both. Now, some people I saw around the web complaining, saying now they have a whole other icon. Why didn't they just use the Google or the Android settings where your Google account is already there? Well, that would require a new version of Android. And since they can't just push a new settings.apk to every device, since every OEM basically,
writes their own.
Makes their own, yeah. So they had to do it this way. And this is the whole entire reason that the Google services exists. So they can push new features without pushing out a whole new version of Android.
Really, though, people should be happy as Google continues to abstract Google services into standalone APKs that are in the market, delivered through the market. It means you're going to get a much more consistent access layer to Google services. Even if you're not running the same version of Android, if you're running Kindle, if you're running Gingerbread or ICS or Jelly Bean or even iOS, you're getting the same sort of access layer to the various cloud services that Google provides.
It's a very modular approach, and I definitely agree with that over having to roll it into operating system upgrades.
Yeah, it's good. So I mentioned Fancy. It's an app that honestly I guess has been around for a while. I honestly never heard about it before, never used it until I said, "Oh wow, I can sign into this app."
You used it just so you could sign in with Google.
Yeah, but actually, Dan, I got some good out of it. I actually spoke with their web developer. A little backstory. I'll ramble for a minute, and I like to ramble. I actually had a issue with their website, and me being an angry, irate customer, I took to Twitter or Google Plus and yelled about it. And their developer actually contacted me and said, "So we never had anybody do what you were trying to do. We fixed our bug. We like Android Authority. Here's $10 coupons to give away to your viewers." So,
coupons.
Yeah, so you guys benefit from me finding a bug. So we're not going to give away this show. I'm actually going to do an app review. I've been using the app a lot, just playing around with it. It's kind of like
fancy?
It is pretty fancy. It's hollow, so it's a hollow app. So you don't need to say anything else, right? It's cool. I like it. So pay attention the next few days from Android Authority. When I get some time to review the app, I'm going to post the app review, and then you'll have a chance to win $10 to buy something.
What does it do?
It's a social network. It's kind of like Pinterest meets Amazon affiliate program. I mean, that's really the best way to put it. You can pin your own things, called fancying them, and you can use it to buy and sell things and make money with referrals, which you kind of do with Amazon. You know what? How about you find out what it is when I do the app review?
Yeah, why don't you just wait for it?
Sounds like something that I wouldn't understand even if I.
It sounds like something that Dan wouldn't do.
This is why we don't.
Well, I mean, it sounds like something for people that are selling things, which
I've seen it.
I don't know anything about selling things.
All right. So moving on.
Tangent.
Moving on. All right, so let's talk about what we came here to talk about. We're not going to talk about things that Dan doesn't like. We're going to talk about Google versus Samsung.
Finally. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about Mobile World Congress in a little bit. Let's do some Android ecosystem stuff here. So let's talk about Google versus Samsung. This past week, reports came out from the Wall Street Journal that Google was worried over Samsung, and I guess that's rightly so. I mean, Samsung is huge. They're a massive dominating force in Android. So last year, Samsung shipped more than 200 million devices more than the closest competitor. 200 million more than the closest competitor. That's huge. There's been previous reports the past so many months that Galaxy is becoming a household name, that people were searching for Galaxy more than searching for Android. Well, that report, that doesn't mean anything to me personally, because the most popular phone is called Galaxy. So you're going to be searching for that popular phone. You're not going to search for Android. So
Plus 47 other variants.
Yeah. So that report, I'd just say, okay, somebody.
Well, how many people search for the word droid instead of Android?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
they're not called droids?
So why,
in fact, that name is owned by Lucasfilm.
So why is Google worried? Could it be that someday Samsung could come and say, listen, we're pushing this much of your product, we're making this amount of mobile advertising money, we now want a larger chunk of the change. Right now they get roughly 10%, so they could come out and say, okay, we want 15%, 20%, whatever the case may be. They could demand more money, and if Google says no, then they could say, okay, well, we already have this massive user base, so we're just going to fork Android, and we're going to do our own thing. And they could go the way of kind of like Amazon did with the Kindle line.
Samdroid.
Or what they could do is they can do the bait and switch. They could get their Tizen, operating system up to snuff, and then bait and switch and call it Galaxy, and everybody be like,
you know what? And they could do that, and the average consumer probably wouldn't really realize a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't see them doing that. Who knows? They could fork Android and make it look like Tizen, and eventually just use that. Who knows? But so what do you guys think? Should Google be worried about Samsung's dominance? Is this something that that Larry and Sergey are having nightmares about, or is this not a big deal? What do you guys think? What's your take?
As long as the devices have the Play Store and everything that Google can make money off of, Google is A-OK. They're happy about it, and they make money off of it. The more devices that they can get into people's hands that have all of Google services and Chrome and are browsing the web is a win-win for Google. So any way phone manufacturers want to change it, whether it's good or bad, is good for Google.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of ignore what Google's real core business is. It doesn't really matter if somebody uses iOS or Android in any form factor. The only point that Samsung becomes a huge threat to them is if Samsung gets good enough services that actually tie them to Samsung phones, and that hasn't become the case because Samsung services just honestly suck. Look at S-Voice, they don't have any kind of media services or anything that can really lock people in. And HTC and Motorola used to be in this exact same position. They were in a dominating position. And because Android is so interchangeable and so open to competing different types of services, people can easily, if Samsung trips up, it's nothing to move over to a Motorola or HTC, because if you're in the Google ecosystem, you can migrate and not miss a beat, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a couple points are, it's really too soon. People haven't really been adopting Samsung. Samsung has been around that long. They're not that huge for that long. First of all. Second of all, a big selling point to Tizen is that you can run Android apps via OpenMobile. Well, look to Google to shut that down real quick if it becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I want to say about that is if you believe that Samsung with Tizen is somehow a bigger deal than Google with Android and Motorola, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And that leads into a very good point, Nate. So is that part of the reason, that these Google X Phone or Motorola X Phone rumors are coming out? Is this hopefully a way for Motorola to, start getting back into the market, to come out with some bombs, really, and shake things up, and hopefully keep Samsung in check?
Well, one of the first things that Google said was we bought Motorola for their patents. And then one of the first things they did after that was take a Motorola executive out and put a Google executive in. So they're not running them as a separate entity.
and then what, a month or two ago, sometime in the past so many months, a formal agreement was reached to not use the Motorola patents to go after Apple. So those patents
not accurate.
How is that not accurate?
Because that's not at all what the agreement was. They agreed to not actively seek injunctions for people violating their FRAND patents. They did not agree to not go after Apple because actually under the terms of their agreement, Apple is totally available to be sued over them and seek injunctions because Apple is refusing a license at any rate, and they've said so in public court documents. When you refuse to take a license for a FRAND patent at any rate, you're still totally liable for an injunction.
Thank you, Dan.
I was under the impression that the FRAND patents could no longer be used against Apple.
Yeah, there's a list of like 14 disqualifying exceptions, of which Apple is breaching like 6.
So there are some, but not all of them.
With regards to the X phone coming to save the day, I mean, Google's always been looking for that phone to, get into a lot of people's hands, and they haven't had one compared to the size of Samsung.
I think
nobody has compared to the size of Samsung.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that they crossed us up with we bought them for their patents to protect ourselves kind of thing. But I don't believe, I didn't believe it then, and I don't believe it now. I think that they bought them to have a much more tighter control over the entire spectrum from supply chain to everything else, all the way down the line. I think it was kind of an end around play to Samsung. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely did buy them for their patents. I think that the other stuff is more or less the fringe benefit.
Absolutely.
And the reason to buy them for their patents and then keep them rather than buy them for their patents and then sell off the corpse.
Right.
Yeah. What would be really awesome if the X phone was vanilla and all the phones were vanilla, and that could be a selling point, and that could be a very, very appealing thing that you could buy Motorola phones for. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think
that's going to happen, but yeah.
I think the other thing with Samsung is that really they're a house of cards, right? I mean, they're hugely successful and they're selling millions of devices, and I don't mean to diminish that, but they're cheap plastic that, of course, they're selling millions of them because they're freaking 3D printing them off the lines like they're candy, right? Like, they're cheap plastic, and yet they're selling at the same price as an HTC-built phone that's made out of, unibody aluminum. Or
did you see HTC
ridiculous
Slam today?
Whatever nonsense that they had on the One S, right? Like, these are premium devices selling at $600 versus Samsung's cheap plastic at $600.
Dan, did you see HTC's post today on Google Plus? They said metal greater than plastic, and then they pictured the new HTC One. That was a direct slam at Samsung.
Yeah, exactly.
And it should be, really. I mean,
it should be.
Those Samsung phones are so flimsy. And, I mean, they can kind of make up for it by saying that they're some of the lightest phones around. But really, who's picking up a phone and thinking, this is so heavy, I can't stand this?
Yeah,
rather than,
I'm not that strong.
All right, so
Samsung's getting to the point where they're so light that it's uncomfortable, right? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm holding a piece of paper when I'm holding my cell phone.
That'd be kind of cool, actually. So
to get back on track here, you guys don't think that Google should have anything to worry about, but it's nice to have Motorola in your pocket to help push things along?
One thing I wanted to say real quick is that when it comes to Android, I don't want to see anybody become Android's Apple. I don't want to see anybody be in the situation where they're the only company that people are looking to, because that is just going to cause everybody else to stagnate. All they have to do is kind of hit the status quo, and everybody's fine.
That makes sense.
As everybody's in good competition, people are going to keep innovating, and that's
that makes sense, Wookie. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Mobile World Congress, what we're here for, right? So, as Wookie said, we didn't go this year. Obviously, we're here, but right now, Darcy and Josh are flying back. Josh actually is probably flying over PA right now. I talked to him a little bit ago, and he was in New York City. So, hey, Josh, I'll wave to you up there. Anyways, yeah. So, phones. there was a lot more excitement, as Wookie said, compared to CES. We saw the Optimus G Pro, we saw the Lenovo K900, the Asus PhonePad, a Firefox OS reference device, ZTE had a device, and out of all those, anybody have any favorite phone they saw this week?
I just want to say that it was around midnight the other night, and Darcy was messaging me in a tizzy. He is a big Note 2 guy, and he loves that Optimus G Pro, so that's a scary phone.
I saw his review on that, and he actually said that. He's like, I might be getting an upgrade soon, you know?
He said it was the best phone he'd ever seen.
Really?
He was absolutely giddy. It was weird.
So let's talk about that. So the Optimus G Pro is the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 of LG without the S Pen. I mean, it looks, for argument's sake, it looks exactly like it. I mean, down to the way the buttons are laid out, and I mean, to be honest with you, if you held two of the devices side by side, stood back a few feet, you'd probably, covered up the logos. Obviously, you'd be
the
like,
big
hey,
Verizon logo.
Well, yeah, cover up the massive Verizon logo. Okay, use the GSM version, and you'd be like, oh wow, there's two Galaxy Notes. They look the same, in my opinion. So the Optimus G Pro comes with a 1.7 quad-core Snapdragon 600, and maybe that's why that thing flies. Maybe that's why Darcy was such a fan of it. That's the same processor that's going to be coming in the HTC One, the Snapdragon 600. So,
is it thinner width-wise than the Note 2?
I think it has less of a bezel, yeah.
Because that was one of, I think that's one of Darcy's complaints, is the Note 2 is so wide.
Well, it does have a better screen. It's a 1080p screen, 5.5 inch LCD, and that right there is a winner. Mm-hmm. It's a 1080p screen. The Note 2 does not have that. It's going to come with Android 4.1.2. Yeah, I know Android 4.2 is out, but we probably won't see a whole lot of phones come with Android 4.2, unfortunately, for a little bit. Chances are LG is going to update it, quote unquote, soon. But it looks like a nice phone. It looks exactly like, I hate to keep saying it. Really, it looks like TouchWiz. Really, it does. Their Nature UI, isn't that what it's called? Nature?
TouchWiz calls it.
Well, no, LG's UI. What I forget what that's called.
I can't remember what it's called.
But
that's a good thing we can't remember.
It looks like a TouchWiz. Yeah, but anyways, it's a nice device. It really, if you're somebody that needs a pen, an S Pen, then you're not going to have that, but you're going to have a better screen, you're going to have a better processor, and roughly same other specs, storage and RAM. But
John, you have a Note 2. Looking at this device, are you jealous?
Not really.
He's always jealous.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that the hardware isn't great. I just don't trust LG to push out software updates. That kills it for me. So.
Do you really intend to run the native software?
Well, even the developer communities for LG just aren't there.
That's
compared to Samsung too. If
depends
LG
on the phone, but
if LG proves themselves if they improve on their track record, then it would be a device that's worth having to me. But I just don't see it out of them yet, so it's not tempting me.
All right,
I hear LG.
So we have another device here, Lenovo K900. We first saw this at Showstoppers at CES. Wookie and I were there. We got to touch it. We got to check it out, and it's a massive phone. 5.5 inches, 1080p screen, yada yada yada. And the neat thing about it, they weren't really telling us a whole lot at CES. They said it has an Intel, and there was rumors that it's dual core. We didn't really know a whole lot. I tried talking to the Intel guy, and Wookie and I were sitting there hammering, and we're like, so why is Intel now able to use a dual core processor? Because 6 months ago, Intel said Android wasn't ready. And they came back with a really awesome answer, basically saying Android's still not ready, but our processors are good enough to fix that, is basically what he said.
By which they really mean 6 months ago we couldn't hit the power footprint on dual core, and now we finally can.
Well, whatever they did, so they did something right, because the whole reason we're mentioning this device is because holy hell, is it fast! So Darcy slapped Antutu on it. It's a Intel Clover Trail 2.0 gigahertz dual core, and
with hyperthreading.
With hyperthreading. So if you know anything about benchmarks, a lot of people do, some people don't. It scored over 25,000, which pretty much blows everything away today. Now, in comparison, the Tegra 4 got 36,000, but the Tegra 4 is a little different architecture, and it's coming from somebody that has been in the Android, business a lot longer than Intel has. Intel, this is their first, major foray with the dual core, so that's why this is such a big deal.
For another roughly 4 months, at least.
Yeah. So like Dan said,
Intel what is there now?
Well, let's compare that with the Tegra 4 that's not going to be here until next.
That's what we were talking about, yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Intel.
Well, the Intel got the 2500, the Tegra 4 got 36, and Qualcomm claims that their Snapdragon 800 that's going to come out at about the same time as the Tegra 4 beats the Tegra 4.
But looking at it from a pure Intel standpoint, I'm giving them a high five.
Oh, definitely. They've come a long way.
It's great to have a third person in the game.
I think one thing that looks to be happening is a lot of your A15, like Samsung and NVIDIA too, are really lagging behind what they initially thought they would be able to get these chips out. And Intel is really moving at a pace that they're getting better at becoming power efficient a lot faster than these OEMs for ARM are getting better at making their chipsets faster. And
that makes sense because Intel's been making processors for 40-some years.
Yeah.
So
they have the facilities and R&D to do that and do it correctly. So
right now, Intel's competing on pretty even ground with the process, and they are due for a completely new Atom architecture and moving down in lithography in the next year. They're on an accelerated release. You talk about Intel with they tick and then they talk. They're about getting ready to talk. So,
yeah, they can move down the process size a lot faster than the ARM manufacturers. They're going to get to 14 nanometers when ARM is dropping to 20.
Yeah, and that's really huge for the next few years, really.
So we're going to talk about some other devices here, move on, but those of you that are watching live or listening or watching later, go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite device from over Mobile World Congress 2013 was. Was it a tablet? Let us know which tablet. Was it a phone? Let us know which phone, just so we can kind of see what's out there in terms of what you guys like, what you didn't like, and we'll look at the comments in a little bit and talk about what do you guys think. So moving on to another device here, let's talk about a 7-inch phone. The Asus PhonePad is basically a Nexus 7 in terms of size and look.
And not at all internals.
But yeah, the internals aren't. Obviously it's an Intel processor, 1.2 gigahertz Atom processor, and the Nexus 7's Tegra 3. But it looks, to me, it looks like a Nexus 7. So it's a phone, and if you watch Asus's promo video talking about it, they basically said that you shouldn't have to crowd around a phone to a tiny screen to show friends and family a picture or a video or something. You shouldn't have to hold or carry a phone in your hand, and then when you want to do something bigger, go grab your tablet. You shouldn't have to worry about carrying two devices. So why not use a 7-inch tablet as a phone? And that's how they came up with the PhonePad. It's an HSPA Plus device, and their promo video shows people walking around with this. Where's my Nexus 7? There it is. Walking around with a massive.
Looking like this.
Yeah, they're like, "Can you hear me now? Hey!"
Does that phone make you suddenly older?
Just to be clear, you can currently do that with an HSPA Plus enabled Nexus 7.
Yes,
you can do it with the Wi-Fi only as well.
But you have to have Groove IP.
Range of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you can pull out the Zach Morris phone and look like Saved by the Bell all over again.
Yeah,
if you feel like
now with the HSPA Plus
like
Nexus 7, you can do this already with Groove IP. You have to use Groove IP to do that, or another VoIP service. So, and some people have already done this. It's nothing new, but that's the Nexus 7 is marketed as a tablet, whereas the PhonePad is marketed as a phone. So it is a little different. It's something that no one's really done yet. So what I want to know is if you're watching, listening, smoke signals, however you're tuning in, would you walk around the street with a 7-inch phone up to your face, or or do you use Bluetooth? Who cares? Do you just gonna keep your phone in your pocket, your purse, or it's massive, so some people have smaller pockets. Women, you're not going to put this in your pocket. So, what are you going to do? Walk around with Bluetooth? You're going to use it? I'm curious what the average consumer's thinking of that.
If somebody on YouTube commented, no.
If
what I want to see
Google
is
Glass catches on,
the meme of Grumpy Cat, like in the Asus phone pad, and them just being like, no.
Is this another one of the devices that they're only planning to sell in Asia?
Europe, Asia, yeah. There's no plans at this time for you.
No way, I'm shocked.
Now that doesn't mean that you can't buy it and use it here on a GSM network. I don't know if the I haven't looked at the radios.
It's HSPA Plus. It should probably run on T-Mobile, but it's getting to the point where nobody in America is going to sell anything that doesn't work on LTE.
So it'll be interesting. So yeah, let us know. Will you walk down the street or with a 7-incher up by your face, or will you use Bluetooth or not at all?
I'm waiting for the 11-inch phone pad personally. Just they're gonna have to put a handle on the back of it so you can hold it up like this. But
I've seen those third party. They make them already.
Those
you
make sense.
can go ahead and practice now. Go and pull out your Nexus 10 or whatever 10-inch tablet you have and walk around.
That'd be just awkward.
Get a VoIP app on your Pixel. Just walk around with that.
There
Picture
you go.
walking into like an elevator and just having that thing and just talking on it.
Well, you know what, Nate? There you go. Do you have the LTE version of the Pixel?
No, but I should get it and then kind
You
of
should get it and then just open up
with, like,
Gmail.
a shelf on it, and I can just walk around.
Well,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Get just
use Gmail straight out of the browser.
Use Gmail.
Free calling.
And
Walk
I'm gonna call
around
Dan.
town.
I'm gonna call Dan and say, "I'm doing it, buddy. I'm doing it."
with your 100 megabytes of Verizon service.
Yeah, so you yeah, watch your data plan.
It'll be like
Verizon
one
doesn't
call
like
for
going
about 3
over.
minutes.
All right, so let's move on and talk about another Mobile World Congress device. So Firefox was there. And I love that guy. His accent's awesome. He had I don't remember his name, but he has red hair, and he just reminded me of the Firefox logo. Like the whole entire time he was talking, he had like weight curly hair down to here, and the whole time he's talking, I'm like, this dude's perfect for Firefox. Like, so joking aside, so
Really hopes he doesn't see this.
I hope he
That's so
does.
mean.
I hope he does. He was awesome. He said that the Firefox OS is going to be targeting emerging markets where smartphones are really expensive, and basically the average consumer can only afford a feature phone. And what Firefox wants to do is they want to replace the feature phone because they want you to do more than play Snake and text message. And they want to be a cheap alternative that allows you to do more.
And I like that.
Going after Bada, not Android.
You think that's what they're going after?
Well, if they're going for the pseudo feature phone, like quasi smartphone, that's Bada.
Yeah, or Tizen.
Yeah,
Well, I think Samsung wants Tins and Tines, however.
How do we say that name? There you go. Leave us in the comments.
Yes, somebody in the comments tell us how to pronounce that, please. The phonetic spelling.
Tizen, Tizen,
and phonetically spell it out.
and you'll win. You'll
I think
win
the
a,
proper pronunciation for that is touch jizz.
Oh my goodness.
All right,
It
so
starts with a T and ends with something similar.
all right, so let's talk about the Grand Memo. The Grand Memo from. Yeah, there you go. See
The Grand Nemo.
the Grand.
I've seen that movie.
Grand
No,
Memo.
the Memo is those Asus pads that never exist.
All right, so the Grand
topic.
Memo from ZTE. So is it
Or ZTE if you're from the rest of the world.
or
Oh.
ZTE if you're Darcy? He's the only person I've ever heard say is
No, and the Nokia dude.
I live close enough to Canada to get advertisements on the radio for the BlackBerry Z10 all the time.
All right, so the official press release for the Z Grand Memo,
ZTE.
the ZTE, yeah, it said that it was a Snapdragon 800 processor. And immediately, as soon as I saw the press release, I messaged the #1 hardware guy that I know, Dan Charlton. I was like, holy snikes. Dan, this comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800. It's the world's first device to have an 800. And Dan just replies, grumpy cat. He's like, no. And I was like,
No,
Dan.
that's probably a typo.
I was like, Dan, what do you mean no? He said, well, that's not coming out for months. I said, dude, it's all over the press release.
It's
And
not sampling to manufacturers yet. They certainly aren't debuting a device that has it, since they can't get their hands on one.
So Dan, being Dan, he keeps telling me, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. I said, hey, they put it in the press release. He said, no, it's a typo. They meant to say 600. I said, okay, so I'm going down through the press release specs, and I get down to the radio, and I copy and paste the radio to Dan, and I said, oh, so I guess it's not coming with that God radio that was announced. It's going to be every LTE band. And Dan says, wait a second, that radio is the same radio that's in the S4 Pro. Something doesn't jive here. And then the next day, a couple, actually Android Police reported it officially first. Android Police put Antutu on it and did some testing and came back and saw that it was what Dan had said the day before. So Dan was right all along that it was an S4 Pro. And what was funny is people were actually contacted Qualcomm and said, hey, so you put out an 800. And they're like, no, it's a 600. And then it turns out to be an S4 Pro.
I'm sure they don't know. They just said, no, it's definitely not an 800. They probably meant 600.
Yeah. So, was it? It was. I don't know. It was interesting. Their press release also said it had 2 gigs of RAM, but it only had 1 gig of RAM. Like,
who is in charge of that?
It's
LTE.
come on. Expect?
It's like ridiculous.
So was it the PR
Why do you
guy
think we're
made a
all
whole
making
bunch
fun
of
of
mistakes?
NVIDIA for having ZTE as their only signing partner for the Tegra 4?
Yeah, this car has 20 gallons of gas, a capacity of 20, and you get on the road, it has 2. Oh. That was
Oh yeah, sorry, we meant 2. It was
Yeah.
That was a typo. Somebody
That's
did
horrible.
0 when they weren't supposed
I
to.
ran out of gas. I thought it was 2 gallons with like an 18-gallon reserve or something, man.
All right, so let's talk about some Mobile World Congress tablets. We have the Asus Padphone Infinity, which is like the Padphone 2. It's a phone that slaps into a tablet shell and becomes
Then
an
plugs in the
awesome tablet.
keyboard, and then you get infinite battery life.
Yeah, it's. You should actually check our review actually out on YouTube on that. Darcy talked, about like 8 or 9 minutes or so with their marketing team, and you get a lot of hands-on on the device and a lot of information about it. It keeps getting better. In the beginning, the Padphone, people complained it was kind of big, kind of bulky, kind of heavy. It's been getting better and better and better, and now it's up to version Infinity, so that means it's good because higher is better according to Bill
Possibly
Gates.
have another version now.
Yeah.
Infinity +1.
Well, Infinity and beyond, there's they're gonna come out with the Padphone Buzz Lightyear or something.
You're just gonna have to pick a larger infinite set.
So Galaxy Note 8.0, we knew that was coming. We heard, it leaked all over the place. It was on Picasa, where Android phones go to, tell their tale of.
Does anybody think
Distance.
it looks like a little child's toy that you would buy in Toys R Us, like the child's
Like
children
every other
toy?
cheap plastic Samsung product? Yes.
No. I mean more so than they typically do.
It looks like a Galaxy S3 that they decided to blow up.
Exactly. Cheap plastic ape. Much
It's
like a
like
toy.
curved and childlike.
Yes. Designed for humans, as opposed to everybody else that designed things for, I don't know.
Okay,
Baboons.
so I would think that children would use this, and since you can use it as a phone, think of like a 3-foot kid walking around using this as a phone. That'd be crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna buy one for my son.
Are you?
just to see him use it,
That would be the funniest thing ever.
No.
holding it up.
Take
So-
some pictures, send it back.
So the reason that Samsung came out with this, everybody thinks, is 8 inches is roughly the same size as the iPad Mini. iPad Mini is like 7.8, 7.9. I don't know.
Have
what
we
it is.
forgotten the fact that this is not the first 8-something inch tablet from Samsung?
Or
But that's- but this is
Motorola
their
had
new
an
one.
8-inch tablet.
But this
for a
is their
while.
new one,
Oh,
and
of
that's
course,
why.
because they release a product and then Apple releases a similar one, and then Samsung updates their existing product.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Samsung is ripping Apple off.
Well, they're not ripping them off, but they're competing, and that's exactly what I'm saying. This is their answer, with their note line. So, is it awesome? Do you want one? I'm not down with the whole.
I thought you were getting one for your kid.
Oh, that was a lie. Don't believe anything I
Don't
say.
lie on air. It's like we're under oath.
So, most interesting tablet besides the phone pad, I think, was HP Slate, just because HP, this is their foray. This is their first time officially getting into the Android market space, and I think it's cool. You're getting, the HP brand name that everybody knows has been making computers for years. Yeah, touchpad might not have been the best tablet on the planet, but
Their laptops are not the best laptops on the planet either.
but everybody, when it comes to HP or Dell or whatever, insert major computer manufacturer here, they're all roughly the same until somebody has a problem with them, and then they hate them, and then they love another company. That's really how it is.
I'll tell you why it's a bad tablet. Freaking look at it compared to the Nexus 7. Okay.
$30 more. So the HP Slate 7 comes in at $169.
Yep.
So Nexus 7 is $30 more. Okay.
So there's no GPS, no NFC.
No GPS, no NFC. You're right.
3 megapixel rear camera. People are gonna like the fact that it has a micro SD card.
People, a lot of people hated on the Nexus 7 because they wanted more space. They said, "Oh, 8 megs, or 8 gig, and 16 gig," and
so that'll be a selling point for people that want more space or want to throw in that 64 gig or whatever. 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Yeah, but at Nexus, Nexus
also
7.
1 gigabyte of RAM, the Evo, the original one.
Yeah, 1 gig does not cut it anymore.
No.
It doesn't.
I mean, granted, the Nexus 7 has 1 gigabyte of RAM too, so.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
The Nexus 7 has 1 gig of RAM. That's what I said. Now the screen, 1024 by 600, so it's competing with the Kindle Fire for $159.
Ouch.
That's what I'm thinking. It's the Kindle Fire's a little lower
My
spec.
cell phone has a better resolution than that.
It's a cheap tablet. It's nothing more, And we also at Android Authority YouTube channel. You can check out the hands-on there and first look there, and it looks like a nice device.
It is also running almost stock Android.
That is nice.
If
Which
somebody,
is another selling point for us people.
it has Beats Audio, which I know a
It's
lot
nothing.
of people hate
Absolutely
Beats
nothing.
Audio, but some people love it.
Yeah, so just
I don't know why, but yeah, some people do.
There's also
I
a really
consider
good
it a
chance that
negative.
this tablet's going to be in stores, whereas the Nexus 7 you can't get in stores usually.
yeah, that's a good point.
Well, you can go pick one up at Staples or Best Buy.
Yeah, but nobody has a Staples by
Everybody
them.
goes there.
I live in the middle of nowhere, and I have a Staples here.
I don't have a Staples.
We
I
have
don't
the
even
Staples
care.
here. I'm in the middle of
If I
nowhere,
had a
so.
Staples, I wouldn't go there.
Anyways,
Regardless,
the selling point on this, in my opinion, is the support, because we know that Google doesn't have the greatest support
Are you kidding?
in the world.
Wait,
I actually
wait.
had to deal with Google support for
Yeah.
my Nexus 7. It was fantastic.
I know.
Derek, didn't you have something go
I
wrong with
didn't have
Nexus 7?
I didn't have a problem. You can see my post and article about it. I didn't have a problem when I replaced my Nexus 7, but that doesn't mean that I can't find thousands of people that have complained either.
Because we can't find lots of thousands of people complaining about HP's customer service. No,
that's pretty good.
They're the paragon of customer service.
Real quick,
I've
I
never
would
had
like
a
to
problem
say
with
that
customer service, to be honest with you.
either Meg Whitman is a liar or HP got this out really fast. Because she was talking not that long ago about how if HP came out with a tablet soon, it would be running Windows.
Yeah.
And then they come out with an Android tablet, and she pretty much ruled that out, I think, 4 months ago.
I think she ruled out Android too after she killed WebOS. She was like, F mobile, we're sticking to Windows.
Well, a year ago, HP also said we're never making another desktop computer again. And then a month later, they're like,
Oh, look at this brand new desktop we made.
Yeah. They actually they closed down plants and they closed that whole entire consumer division, and then all of a sudden, yeah, well, we never really said we were doing it forever.
Yeah, we just meant for the next
Just
week.
for this month.
We just felt like taking a vacation, guys.
Her truths just only last one week.
Either way, I think that this speaks volumes for Android to have a major device manufacturer, major PC server, desktop manufacturer make an Android tablet. The same.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I would say the same thing if Dell made another Android tablet.
Samsung
Samsung?
is a major PC vendor that makes tablets. Lenovo. I don't know that they make tablets, but they
Personally,
make
I wouldn't consider them a major PC.
Yeah, Lenovo makes tablets.
Acer.
I wouldn't consider either of those major.
I think Acer's one of the larger PC distributors on the planet.
I think all of them have kind of dabbled their feet in the water, but it speaks volumes for how successful Android is that they're doing this. But it also speaks volumes of how clueless HP has been in the last couple of years in the market, because WebOS was not a bad platform. They just killed it with really terrible hardware. And if they don't compete,
the hardware in the touchpad wasn't terrible. It was just badly implemented.
But the pre was terrible, and they didn't improve on those things. But
No,
if they want to get an adoption, I think they have to come up with better hardware for their money.
All right, so Scott, talk about Mobile World Congress awards. Every year they award to best. Pretty much there's too many categories to list them all. Pretty much everything under the sun has an award. So let's talk about some relevant ones here.
All right, let's go over a little bit of history first. In 2012, best smartphone was the S2, and this year was the Galaxy S3. Good. Everybody kind of agrees upon that.
But whatever.
I mean, the consumers believe that it's the best phone. Yeah, okay.
What is their
mobile
qualification for best? Best selling or best quality?
Best mobile-enabled consumer electronics device, the Galaxy Camera. Interesting. Best mobile infrastructure, Smart LTE network.
Which is a product of Samsung.
Device manufacturer of the year, Samsung. Outstanding overall mobile technology.
The CTO's choice was Samsung as well. So Samsung actually walked away with 5 awards from Mobile World Congress.
Best tablet in 2012 was the iPad 2, and now it is the Asus Google Nexus 7.
Suck it.
Best consumer app, Facebook. That's wrong.
Last year, the
way
best
wrong.
consumer app, Scott, was Google Maps. So that's a huge change.
And Google Maps works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that maybe they used Facebook's iOS native app and didn't bother using Android's because Facebook's Android one still sucks majorly.
But hey, that's a really good point, though. I wonder what version they were using.
Well, it's mobile. It's all it's all platforms.
Yeah, but did they just average the suckiness? So they took the horribleness of Facebook on Android, and then they
Good though
leveled
that
it.
it makes up for how crappy it is on Android.
Well,
So-
if the mobile website qualifies as an app, that's pretty good.
So the last app I'm actually really surprised about.
especially for enterprise.
Yeah. So the best enterprise app was voted to be Evernote. Now, don't get me wrong. You can do productivity on Evernote. So I would have assumed this award should be called Best Productivity App. But Best Enterprise App, when I think Enterprise App, I don't think of Evernote.
I don't either.
I think of something like Drive would be a better option than Evernote for enterprise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dropbox has done a good job this year too.
Yeah.
And things like Box.
I mean, we all know what Evernote is. I understand that you can use it for business, you can use it for productivity, but for example,
Consumer.
I wouldn't want to use Evernote for work because that's
You'd use the OneNote app for Android because that's an enterprise app.
it's just weird. So those of you that are in the your career takes you to some company every day that use mobile apps, let us know. Would you consider Evernote to be your company's enterprise best app that you use?
A better question to ask: would you ever consider Evernote being in the category of an enterprise app?
Yeah. It's a consumer app.
Is
I mean,
it
that's
is
great
it better
news for
categorized
Evernote
as a
because-
productivity app or an enterprise app? Answer that question.
Oh, if we thought productivity app, I would say yeah, it's a great productivity app. It's designed great, has great functionality.
Yeah, but it's
You
a
go-
consumer grade product. It's not an enterprise grade.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
don't mean
I
to
use
like
Evernote
diss it
all
in
the
any way.
time.
I think it's a perfectly
Not
good
an
product.
enterprise.
Well,
It's
you know
just
what?
not enterprise grade.
All I know is when we all decide to start a new company, we're going to start it using Evernote because it's an enterprise app.
The best one of the year.
So besides Mobile World Congress, there was some other news floating around the interwebs the past few days that we covered at Android Authority. So the Verizon Galaxy Nexus, the red-headed stepchild of the Nexus line, is getting an update soon, in quotes, air quotes.
Within the next 6 months.
Yeah, so obviously, so
months, 3
this-
years.
a Verizon support rep took to Twitter to say that it's coming soon. So this says one thing, that yay, the device is going to get another update. It wasn't forgotten. But the most interesting...
4.1.2 is coming.
Well, yes, yeah, exactly. 4.1.2 is coming. Because remember, it's 4 updates behind its GSM counterpart.
You know, it'd be awesome if they just jumped to key lime.
That'd be rad.
Oh my goodness, they would
Now-
completely redeem themselves.
Did you guys see the tweet? It actually, the rep actually said, "Don't worry, Samsung is going to push out the update soon."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But Samsung doesn't
Yes,
push out
nothing.
the update.
I love how they point the finger of blame to people that it
Yeah,
doesn't-
that's exactly why they did it. So right now, if you're mad that your Galaxy Nexus doesn't have an update, and you see this
Verizon
message,
just said it's Samsung's fault.
Verizon just said it's Samsung, so now you can be mad at Samsung when it's not Samsung's fault. That update is
Verizon's
still-
fault, and Samsung has nothing to do with it in the slightest.
It's Samsung's fault that we're the only carrier in the world that has a locked bootloader on the Galaxy S3, so don't get mad at them for investing the development effort for doing it to us. Those bastards, they put this shitty phone on our service.
So
We told them to.
So moving on to other device news this week. Everybody knows, if you watch the show, listen to the show, that this is my phone, and I love it and I hate it. We have some weird
hate it more
kinky
than you.
relationship. This, well, I have some good news with this phone this week, some bad news with this phone. The bad news, we'll start off with that first. HTC said on Facebook, hey, just wanted to let everybody know you saw the M7 recently. It's running Sense 5.
Which mean the HTC.
Don't worry. The 1X is going to get it. The 1X Plus is going to get it. The 1S is going to get it. And the Butterfly is going to get Sense 5 as well. LOL, Droid DNA was not mentioned. I mean, that's just funny.
Now it's a hate-hate relationship.
So moving on with now the good news for the Droid DNA, we now have a near working AOSP ROM on the DNA. Radio works. It has 4G data, it has 3G data. You can make a phone call, but audio on the phone call doesn't work. Audio.
So you can't
Well,
make a
obviously
phone
you can
call.
talk to
So, wait. So you can't make a phone call, right?
It's still in development.
No,
I'm just saying
Technically,
progress
make a
is being
phone
made.
No, you can place a phone call. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, so you got to use like touch tones. You got like Morse code or something.
Oh, dude, that'd be fun.
It's like movie. It's like movie phone.
Have fun with that.
It's progress is being made. Chad just stepped on the development team, and I'm like a giddy schoolgirl right now because I used to run his kernels back in the day. Dan actually used to work with him on kernels for the Incredible back in the day. He's a good developer. I'm excited to have him on the DNA AOSP CM10 team. Yeah, well, we should get him on the show. So other news. So Samsung Galaxy S4 is officially coming now. Samsung announced that March 14th in New York City at 7 p.m. It's going to be announced. Wookie, you going to be there?
Yes, I am.
Very cool, very cool. So we'll have to have you on the show the following week or later that week. I don't know what day of the week that is yet.
Let me see here.
It's like look, I have this thing called a calendar. I think it tells me. So the 14th is a Thursday. That's at 7 p.m. So that come 9:30, you're getting on this here, and you're telling us all about it.
We'll see. I might be able to hop on for a few minutes at least.
I'm sure
You
you're
should
going
do
to
it
be.
from a Galaxy S4.
Yeah, you better do
Whoa.
it from the. You better join the Hangout from the Galaxy S4. You know.
Hey, can I borrow this? Okay.
I don't know how much I can talk about. What I'm going to say is that I asked for a review unit when I RSVP'd to the event.
Okay.
And at the time, they said, we haven't officially announced anything, so we're not doing anything with review unit waiting lists.
Understandable.
And now it's been...
No, they have officially announced, so are they doing something with those lists?
It's hard to tell if... I mean, everybody knows it's going to be the S4, but
Right.
they're being...
No, they just put out a big flyer with a 4 on it because
Right.
they
I mean, I
March
know.
Madness.
But
Yeah, the Final
because it
Four in
hasn't
March. Duh, that's what they
officially
meant.
announced,
Right, of
I don't
course.
know.
It's all about the basketball.
This is going to be the Galaxy Blaze 4. This is not actually going to be the premium one. This is going to be like the 4th iteration of a crappy carrier
Actually, the
phone that
graphics designer
gave
made a
away for
mistake.
free.
The
I
graphics
will
designer made a
say,
mistake.
and I
It's supposed
could
to
be
say the
very
14.
much damning myself here. When I went to the Note 2 event, I did go home with a Note 2 review unit, so hopefully that will help. That will happen at the S4 event.
Okay, good. Well, we look forward to
Why
your
must join the Hangout from an S4.
we look forward to your future review, Wookie. I'm sure it's going to be awesome because, well, you just do good work, man.
Well, thank you.
So Dan, we had a little bit of carrier news. Our favorite carrier is being awesome as usual.
Yeah,
right?
so T-Mobile announced some of their financials, and in the process of doing that, sort of revealed the fact that they have completed their LTE build-outs in Kansas City and Las Vegas. It's not yet official, which is to say they're done with the physical construction, but haven't actually publicly announced it. It's there, it's just not being used at all. They're planning to have 100 million people in the country covered by the middle of this year, and 200 million people covered by the end of the year. They're also turning on PCS, that's the 1900 megahertz band, HSPA Plus in Richmond, Virginia, and Orlando, Florida, as of, I think that was today, it might have been yesterday, which brings them to about 144 million people covered by 1900 megahertz HSPA Plus and 225 million covered total between PCS and AWS. And rumor has it that they'll be launching their LTE networks officially on March 27th, probably with more than just the 2 cities online by then.
So the question is when will I ever get it? Coverage hashtag coverage better than Derek. Should we bring that back out again?
If you move to Kansas City, you can get the best internet in America.
So,
That's all there
I
is.
I'm hoping somebody does something around here besides Verizon. But
yeah, I mean, T-Mobile's not
that's
really
good. I like
expanding their
T-Mobile.
footprint with their LTE roll, and nobody's really expanding their footprint with their LTE rollout. They're rolling it out to less than their lower level services.
Yeah,
because that's just the way it works.
Let's all just go to Kansas City, dude. Google
All right.
Fiber, T-Mobile LTE.
All right, so who here backed Ooh Yeah last summer?
Derek, you did.
Just Derek? Okay.
Just you.
So I don't even play console games, but I thought it was a neat idea, so I gave him $100. I'm in a couple weeks. I'm going to be getting my console device. They announced actually today that they will start shipping them March 28th.
That's not a couple of weeks, Derek. That's 4 weeks.
Huh?
That's a month.
It's a couple weeks.
That's a month. It's going to ship in a month, and then it'll be a couple of weeks from then.
He's saying a couple of weeks, like a couple of cookies.
Yes,
You know,
I love cookies.
A couple means
It's a couple of weeks, like when Verizon says you're going to get
2
enough
or 3,
Galaxy access in a
maybe
couple of weeks.
4.
It's like a skip and a hop.
All right, whatever. A few weeks. Is that better, Dan?
It's really more than a few.
Several.
Dan? Remember, Dan, I have that mute button.
Do you?
I do.
And he never
All
uses it.
right, so
I'm pretty sure I have one of those too, actually.
I know you used it a few weeks ago when we did the Harlem Shake. You didn't want to participate, so you muted your video.
That's not a mute button. That's a camera button.
So, I'm not that excited about it. Not because I don't play console games, because I don't, but I'm not that excited about it because we've seen something better since then. You know, we've seen the Shield.
Yeah.
And And the PlayStation 4.
Yes,
Oh,
but
wait.
it's coming now, and the Shield's going to be like another 4 months.
But
Yeah,
price
so-
point, the price point, the Ouya will be okay, and it'll be something to get a good perspective of for just $100.
$100, yeah. I'm not hating that I spent $100 on it. But it'll be a toy for my son, right? Remember that rumor, guys, about Google having their own retail stores, and everybody said, "Oh, it's going to be great. They're going to push out Nexus devices. They're going to push out, the Chrome Pixel. They're going to push out insert this. They're going to push out Google Glass.
Cookies.
They're gonna give cookies out to everybody that walks in the door."
Just
I
a
want one of
rumor.
these
Don't
stores
take
that
my
gives
word
me
for it.
cookies.
So everybody thought it was cool, and everybody then said, "Well, this is why they're doing it, and this is why it's good."
Yes. I also saw the article saying, oh, they're copying Apple, because obviously opening a retail store is a
copying Apple.
clearly patented idea of Apple's, and nobody has ever had the
Nobody
idea to
ever
open a
thought
retail
of doing
store
it before. Well, Dan, maybe they were afraid of the patents because
They may have been.
Andy Rubin actually said this past week that nope, that is not happening. The Nexus line doesn't need a retail store.
F you, brick and mortar.
I agree with them, but the Nexus line, there's more to it.
No, what the Nexus line needs is to be able to keep itself in stock.
Now, Nate, I remember you wrote actually a big article about why Google doesn't need retail stores.
Well, I don't think they need them, and I think they've got some hurdles to jump over, like supply chain and some customer service issues. And by customer service issues, I mean when the Nexus 4 launched, that was a complete debacle.
Disaster.
They shut the phone lines down and all that kind of stuff. So they do have some hurdles to jump over. I think what's worth mentioning is Andy Rubin didn't say there will not be retail stores. He says we have no plans for retail stores. So I'm going to put my lawyer hat on and really analyze that statement. We have no plans. Well, what are plans, first of all? And then he's talking specifically about the Nexus line. The store doesn't have to be centered around the Nexus line. There's plenty of other products they have, and Google Glass is much better served by a retail environment. And if you have retail stores, you can get the word out about fiber, which is a huge deal, and people need to know about that. So do I buy that they're not going to have retail stores? No, I don't buy that.
And Chromebooks. Be a
You think
huge push for that.
you think they'll have little fiber hubs in various cities, basically, which is a retail store?
I think there's a lot more benefit to having a store for Google than there is just to sell stuff.
I do agree with that, and I hope you're right. I would like to see a Google store. I think it would be beneficial for for them pushing their brand, pushing their products.
Yeah, only if they aren't like cult havens like
And
Apple.
you have to keep in mind too, they also denied way back when that they had a social media entity coming because somebody said, is there something in the works called Google Circles? And they said, no, we don't have any product by that name. Well, they didn't have a product by that name.
They still
It's called
don't.
Google Plus. Google
Which
Circles
has-
is a service within Google Plus, but there is no
Yeah,
product.
so it won't be a retail store maybe they just won't sell Nexus devices in it, but they'll sell everything else.
Well, I could see them doing something like other manufacturers do, where they open sort of sub-stores within Best Buys and Staples.
Yeah.
Well, they do that with Chromebooks already, Dan.
Exactly.
Best Buys. And we're out in the UK and PC World stores. We don't have those here, I guess.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, in various retail electronics stores, I could see them expanding that. But I don't know that they necessarily are well served by opening their very own brick and mortar stores. Why pay all that physical rent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when online is so much more efficient, and they're already doing it online, it just the only reason that Apple does it is to have that service, that customer service. But hopefully, you make a product lineup where you don't need all that kind of support with all the Google's online services anyway.
So
With Chrome, you're not talking about having to do
Yeah,
backups and stuff.
unlike running around saying it just works while having 24-hour-a-day freaking training sessions so people can figure out how to make it just work.
Yeah.
now, one thing Andy Rubin didn't deny, and he didn't confirm either, he just kind of beat around the bush, when he was asked about is Google launching a music subscription service. And he didn't say no. He just said, well, it's still a new service. That a lot of things can happen. There's a lot of room for growth. Is basically what he said. So I wouldn't say that that's a confirmation, but furthering that rumor, there was a report actually. The music industry actually came out and said Google has a huge amount of users, a huge user base, and then there's the huge user base of YouTube. If they could utilize that, basically that's dollar signs for us. So the music industry said it'd be a good idea, basically. So
they would do a lot better than Spotify and audio could ever do.
I mean, think about it. You search a song and you get a little, a card in Google search, and you click download or preview the song, and you got it right next to YouTube as well. Boom. People search things, and people watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, think about it. Right from YouTube, you're watching a YouTube video, and you realize you like the song, and you want to buy it. What about the the integration or something where you can just click the buy button or the?
You can do that now. Add it to your playlists or store it or for later or.
No, like actual download purchase with Google Wallet, and it's on your device in the matter of 2 seconds.
Yeah. Now, the other thing to consider with this is that Google has already changed the paradigm with the music industry in terms of licensing. With the most recent big labels that they added to the Play Store, they brokered single global licenses with those companies, rather than the sort of industry practice up until these particular contracts has been you make a USA license and a Canada one and a Europe one, and you've got 47 licenses with each distributor of records. Google has already changed the paradigm on that, and so if they can work that out with the rest of them, that creates 12 licenses that they sign with these different companies and can then easily distribute worldwide, filtered straight through Google.com.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that's probable. I really think that they could utilize that in the music industry and make it successful. So Nate, you had the Chromebook Pixel for a few days. You're obviously, as I said earlier on the show, you're in the Hangout from your Pixel. You're going to be doing a full review here shortly on the Pixel, right?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be writing a full review, and it's going to be over the course of a week now, and I have really put this thing through its paces in a lot of different areas, so it's going to be a really full, in-depth review, and not like some of the other reviews where they have it in an hour and say, I don't like it. So it'll be nice.
You've been using it for a whole week, so you can actually give a true review.
I've been using it absolutely exclusively for a full week.
Good.
Cool. All right. Well, you guys can find us on YouTube. Watch us here on YouTube as you're doing or listening. You can find us on SoundCloud, AndroidAuthority.com. If you want to scroll down to the bottom right, there's a section called On Air. After every show, we do a post about what we talked about. We have an IRC channel that we are currently in.
That we need to really start using better, and we are using. We are watching. I'm waving to you guys right now. Hey, Tall Nerd 1985.
And we're gonna start getting in there pre-show too, so we can chat pre-show as well. Yeah, and Podbean as well. Cool.
Oh, all right. So yeah, check us out on the web and watch for my fancy giveaway. Watch for Nate's Pixel review, and you guys have a good night. Good evening.
Take it easy, guys.